Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 10 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 10 and then click on view all lesson. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter systems of linear equations. The lessons we're going to cover today are classify a system of equations, solve a system of equations using substitution, then solve a system of equation using elimination, right? So let's just start with the first lesson. Okay, here I am on grade 10 math. The chapter we are working on right now is systems of linear equation. Let's just start with the lesson that is classify a system of equations, right? So which describe the system of equations below. You are given two of the equations. You have to see which describe the system of equation, right? So the first equation is y equals 10 by 7x minus 3, and the second equation is y equals 10 by 7x plus 9 by 5, right? So basically you have to compare these equations to the general form of the linear equations, that is y equals mx plus b, right? So if you equate these equations, the first one is y equals 10 over 7x minus 3. So for the first equation, m equals 10 by 7, that is the slope, and b equals negative 3, that is the y. Equation is y equals plus 9 over 5. So m is 10 over 7 and b is 9 over 5. So for the second equation, the slope is 10 by 7 and the y-intercept is 9 over 5. So for both the equations, you can see the slope is exactly same, just their y-intercept is different, right? So how do we classify the equation that have the same slope and different y-intercept, right? So the slopes are same, but the y-intercepts are different. So the lines are parallel and never intersect. The system is inconsistent, right? A system of two equations can be classified as follow. If the slopes are the same, but the y-intercepts are different, the system is inconsistent. Got it? If they have the same slope but different y-intercept, that means the system is inconsistent, right? If the slopes are different, the system is consistent and independent. If the slopes are same and the y-intercepts are same, that means the system is consistent and dependent, right? Different slope means the system is consistent. Let's just start with the practice questions, right? Okay, the first equation is y equals 9x minus 9, and the second one is y equals 3 by 4x minus 5 over 8, right? So the first, just equate the equations y equals mx plus b, right? So for the first one, y equals 9x minus 9, so slope is 9 and y-intercept is negative 9. So for the second equation, y equals 3 over 4x minus 5 over 8, so slope is 3 over 4 and y-intercept is negative 5 over 8. So for both the equations, the slope is different, right? When the slope is this different, the system is consistent and independent, right? When the slopes are different, the System is consistent and independent. So option number 2 is the correct option, right? The correct option is option number 2, that it is consistent and independent. Got it? Okay, the next one is which describes the system of equations below. So the equation number 1 is y equals negative 5x plus 1, and the second one is y equals negative 5 by 6x plus 6 over 5, right? So both the equations have different slope, right? So when the slope is different, that means the system is the correct option is the system is consistent and independent, right? The correct option is consistent and independent. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which describe the system of equations below. Y equals 5 by 5x minus 2. The second equation is y equals 5x minus 2. So which is the correct option? Both the equations are exactly same, right? That means the system is consistent and dependent, right? They have more than one solution, so the system is consistent and dependent. Option number 2 is the correct option. Y equals 5 by 8x minus 10, and the second one is y equals 5 by 8x minus 2 by 3. So for both the equations the slope is exactly same but the y-intercepts are different, right? That means the system is the correct option is consistent and independent. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Sorry, inconsistent, because the slopes are different and the slopes are same but the y-intercept are different, right? That means the lines are parallel, they never intersect each other, so the system is inconsistent, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. And the next lesson is The next lesson is system solve a system of equations using substitution. Now we're going to learn how do we solve the linear equations. So you have more than one ways. The substitution method, the elimination method, the augmented matrices method, and the graphing method, right? So today we're going to start with the substitution method, solve using substitution. So let's just start with the first example. Substitution method means you have to isolate a variable and then substitute the value. Like from one of the equations you need to isolate the value of a variable, then you have to substitute it in the other equation, right? So here you are given the equations. The first one is y equals 4 and the second equation is negative 7x minus y equals 3, right? So the first step is you need to isolate the variable, but here you can see the variable is already isolated. Isolation means the variable is on the one side and the rest of the things are on the other side. So you can see the variable y is on the one side and on the other side you have just a 4, so y equals 4. You simply have to substitute y equals 4 in the second equation, right? Just replace the y with the value. So the second equation is negative 7x negative y equals 3. So just replace the y with 4 and solve the equation for x. You have x equals negative 1. Now you can substitute that x equals negative 1 in the equation. And basically, in this example, we have y already have a given value, right? But if you're not given with the value of y, you have to substitute this x equals 1 in the first equation back and calculate the value of y, right? Okay, let's just start with the practice questions. These are already solved. You can have a look on them. So let me just start with the test questions. Okay, so the example is 5x plus 4y equals negative 3 and y equals negative 2. Again, the variable is already isolated, right? The y equals negative 2, the variable y is already isolated, that has the value negative 2. You simply have to substitute this value in equation number 1 and solve for x. 5x plus 4, replace the y with negative 2, that equals negative 3, right? So you have 5x, 4 times 2 is negative 8 equals negative 3. Move 8, negative 8 other side. 5x equals negative 3 plus 8. So 8 minus 3 is 5. That equals 5x equals 5. Divide both sides left with. So here you have the value of x and y, where the value of y is already given, right? So the correct option is x equals 1 and y equals negative 2. That is a solution of the system of inequalities, right? The correct option is 1 and negative 2. Got it? You can have a look on the question. If you have any question, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So the correct option is option number 1, right? Okay, let's just move on to the next example. Okay, the next one is solve using substitution y equals 3 and negative 3x plus 4y equals negative 3, right? So you again the variable is already isolated. Simply substitute the value of y in the second equation, that is negative 3x plus 4. Y has the value 3, right? And that equals negative 3. So negative 3x 4 times 3 is 12 and that equals negative 3. Move 12 other side, that is negative 3x equals negative 3 minus 12. So negative 3x equals negative 15. Divide both sides by negative 3. So x equals 5. Right? So the correct option is the second one. Y has the value 3. Here is the value of y. That is 3 and here is the value of x. So the solution of the system of equation is 5 and 3. Got it? Okay, so the correct option is option number 2. Let's just move on to next example. The next question, right? Okay, the next one is 7x minus 7y equals 7 and x equals 8. So here the variable x is isolated, right? Simply substitute the value of x in equation number 1 and find solve for y. 7 replace the x with negative 8 minus 7y equals 7. 7 times 8 is 50, negative 56 minus 7y equals 7. Move negative 56 other side, that is negative 7y equals 7 plus 56. So 56 plus 7 is 63. It is negative 7y equals 63. Now divide both sides by negative 7. So that is y equals negative 9, right? So you already have x equals negative 8 and y equals negative 9. So the correct option is negative 8 and negative 9. Option number 2 is the correct option. So if you have any question related to the lesson we have just finished, you can please ask. Okay, let's just start with the other example. Now I think you have to do the example, right? That is -8, -9. So for the next example, you have to do and write the answer in the chat box. Okay, the next one is 2x minus y equals -2, -6 and x equals -2. So which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? Mm, the correct option is option number 2, that is -2 and 2, right? Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is y equals 2 and x plus 7 y equals 19. So which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? The correct option is option number 1 is the correct option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Okay, the next one is solve a system of equation using substitution word problems. So you can do the word problems in your own way. We're going to start with the next lesson, that is solve a system of equation using elimination. So let's just start with the first example, that is 7x -7x minus 9y equals 3 and 7x plus 2y equals -17, right? So here you have three steps to solve the question. Make sure the equations have opposite x terms or opposite y terms, right? For example, here you have opposite x terms, right? -7x and +7x, they are the opposite x terms, right? So you can add these, you can add to eliminate the x terms, because 7 minus 7 is 0. So you can add them to eliminate the variable x. This is the elimination process. You can eliminate the variable x. You are left with -7y equals -14 and y equals 2, right? Now you have plugged the result of step 2 into one of the original equations and solve. You have now the value of the variable y, that is y equals to. You can substitute y equals to in any of the equation and calculate the value of x, right? And that is the solution of the equation, that is x equals negative 3 and y equals 2. So to solve using elimination, follow these four steps. Make sure the equations have opposite x or opposite y terms. Add to eliminate one variable and solve for other. Plug the result of equation 2 into the plug the result of step 2 into the one of the original equation and solve. And the last one is state the solution, right? Okay, you can have a look on these questions later today because they are already solved. Let's just start with the test questions. Okay, solve for elimination. Negative x plus 10y equals negative 19. And the second equation is x plus 3y equals negative 7. Okay, first thing is you have to look for the either variable x and y that have the negative terms, right? Opposite terms. So you can see here you have negative 1 and here you have 1. X have the opposite term. So simply add these equations to eliminate the variable x. When you add them, 1 minus 1 is 0, right? And 10 plus 13 is 13y. And negative 19 and negative 17 is negative 26. So divide both sides by 13 to calculate the value y. 13 and 13 cancel out, you are left with y equals negative 2, right? Now you have the variable y equals negative 2. You can substitute the value of y in any of the equation and solve for x. I'm going to substitute in the second equation. X plus 3y is negative 2 equals negative 7. So that is x minus 6 equals negative 7. So x equals negative 7 plus 6 and x equals negative 1. So here you have the solution of the equation x equals negative 1 and y equals negative 2, right? So you can have a look on the solution. If you have any question, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. Okay, let's just start with the other example. Option number 2 is the solution, right? Let's just start with the other example. Okay, the second one is minus 2x minus y equals negative 15 and negative x plus y equals negative 3. So you can see here the variable y have the same numbers. You can subtract this equation and eliminate y, right? Let's just subtract them, right? When you subtract the equations, the sign of the second would be changed. 2 plus 1 is 3x minus y plus y is 0, negative 15 plus 3 is negative 12. So x equals negative 4, right? Now you can substitute the value of x in any of the equation and solve for y. I'm going to substitute here. Negative 4 minus y equals negative 3. So 4 minus y equals negative 3. Negative y equals negative 3 minus 4. Negative y equals negative 7. So y equals 7. So here is the solution. X is negative 4 and y equals 7. Right? The correct option is option number 1. So the correct option is option number 1, that is negative 4 and 7. Okay, the next one is negative 7x plus 8y equals 8, and the second one is 6x minus 8y equals negative 6. So you can see here the variable, the coefficient of the variable y have the opposite terms, right? So you can add them to eliminates. Negative 7x plus 8y equals 8, and then 6x minus 8y equals negative 16. So you can simply add negative 7 plus 6 is negative x, 8 minus 16 is negative 8. So x equals 8, right? Now you can substitute x equal 8 in any of the equation and solve for y. Negative 7x plus 8 times 8 equals 8. That is negative 7x plus 64 equals 8. So negative 7x equals 8 minus 64. So negative 7x equal negative 56. Divide both sides by negative 7. So you're left with x equals 8. So the solution of the equation is 8 and 8. So option number 2 is the correct option, right? That is the solution of the equation. So the correct option is option number. The correct option is option number 2 is the correct option, right? You can have a look on the solution. If you have any question, you can please ask. That is option number 2 is the correct option, right? For the next one, you have to solve, right? Solve the question and write the answer in the chat box. Okay, let's just eliminate the variable y, right? Because they have the same variables. You have to subtract to eliminate the variable y. And then 5x plus 6y equals 2. So let's just subtract them. 3 minus 5 is negative 2x, negative 18 and negative 2 is negative 20. Divide both sides by 2, so the correct option is x equals 10. Now substitute the variable 10 x equals 10 in any of the equation and solve for y. 5 times 10 plus 6y equals 2, that is 50, so 6y equals 2 minus 50. 6y equals negative 48, so that is y equals negative 8, right? So the solution is 10 and negative 8, right? So option number, the correct option is 10 and negative 8. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Okay, now you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 10 math. The chapter we were working on is system of linear equations, and the lessons we have today are classify a system of equation, solve a system of equations using substitution, solve a system of equation using substitution. Word problems you have to do on your own. The one we have just done is solve a system of equations using elimination. And the one right next is solve a system of elimination using word problems you have to do on your own, right? Next week we're going to start with the augmented matrices. So that's all for today. If you have any questions related to the lessons we have just finished, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. And no questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session.